I was looking for you.
So I'll go ahead and welcome them, and then the next slide is. All right, welcome everyone. How excited are you guys here to be here today? Let me hear some noise. How excited are you guys to kick off this amazing season for our 2022 and 2023 season? One more time, let's give a round of applause and excitement. Yeah, welcome. We are super excited to have you guys here at this wonderful kickoff here at Arizona State University, and we hope that you continue to come back, and really we see you here at State, right, in January. So we're super excited to have you guys here and excited for what the day is going to bring. Of course, we're going to be here across, throughout the whole day, so anytime you guys want to come back, visit us, or just kind of talk about FLL, we're more excited to do so as well. But before we kind of dive into the game, we're going to talk about a little bit about FLL and kind of the overall time span as well. So with that being said, let's meet our FLL family.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Elaine Michaud, and I am a new resident of the lovely state of Arizona. I just relocated here from Alaska, and I got the news yesterday from my friends that they are seeing termination dust. Anybody have a guess what termination dust is? Snow. There's snow we can see coming down on the mountains. It's coming. I've just relocated here to be your FLL partner. I've been doing FLL for 14 years. I have competed with my team at Worlds 3 times. And I'm here to support and help you in any way I can. I'd like to introduce Adam.
Yeah.
Where are you? There he is. This is Adam. He's the Associate Director for Outreach and Recruitment here at ASU. He's also my boss. And did you want to say anything? Are you good? He's brand new to FLL. We put it right there. He's brand new to FLL, so if some of you are new to FLL, you are not alone. And those of us who have experience, we are here to help you. So do not panic. There's lots of support and lots of help. All right.
Yeah, and hi everyone. Last but not least, my name is Marilyn Aranda. I'm a coordinator senior here with Outreach and Recruitment within our Fulton Schools of Engineering, and also a partner with FIRST. So really kind of helping with this kickoff, and then kind of helping Elaine across the time here within ASU. So if you guys ever have questions for us, we're always happy to help, and hopefully that this experience this year, this season, is really being kicked off in the best way possible. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. For all of those of you guys who checked in, you guys should have received an agenda that looks just like this. Like I mentioned, we are excited for what the day has to hold. And with that being said, there's going to be an amazing workshops available for you guys to really kind of dive into FLL, get some neat tips and tricks, and really kind of dive into what tournament day is going to look like, right? Tournament day 101. Anything that has a red C at the end of the workshop, that just means that it's FLL Challenge. Now, for any of our teams here that are looking as far as Explore goes, we are going to be offering a quick session on Explore as well, just because we want to make sure that we can expand those as well. Now, again, you'll have various of different options. We always like to tell our teams, if you guys want to divide and conquer and get as much information as you guys would like to, you guys are more than happy to do so. Now, alongside that, FTC is also in the building, so we'll be doing some cross-programming. You guys should have also received an agenda that looks just like this. It's going to have some highlighted areas. All those highlighted workshops are kind of programs that you guys can take part in and really learn a lot from the FTC teams as well. So if you guys are interested in any of those, you guys are more than welcome to attend those. If you want to learn more about what the programs are, go ahead and flip that to the back. It gives a quick kind of brief introduction of what the workshop is going to contain and more so. Now, after we go through our welcome here, we'll go ahead and bring on our head referee, Rich Gomez, over here to kind of go over the game, ask any questions that you guys may have, and he is truly the person that you want to kind of come to with any of your questions. From 11:15 to 12 p.m., you guys will be able to have lunch on your own. In the front table, there was also a sheet, the kind of different options that you guys are able to choose from here in the MU just downstairs as well. And then from 12 to 3 p.m., it's going to be all of those amazing workshops as well. So we're excited to get this day started. And if you guys ever need another agenda or have questions about rooms, where they're located at, we'll always be here to help as well.
So the general topic, so we'll talk about the programs in a minute, but every year FIRST chooses a particular area to focus on some type of a general group of problems that we are as a society trying to solve. And this year we're talking about power. And so this little video is going to tell us a little bit in general about what is the area that we are focusing on this year at FIRST, both as a company and together with our sponsors.
It's more than your address. It's much more. It's your community. It's our planet. And energy is the essential resource that keeps our home running. Each time we plug in, fuel up, turn a key, flip a switch, or press a button to make something go, we're using energy that's delivered in many ways, helping to connect and power our lives. What new ideas in energy generation, efficiency, and use will help us move forward? Together, how can we help minimize the impact of energy on our global climate? These are pressing questions for our future, and innovation cannot wait. Every step forward in our society has been fueled by a source of energy, and we are constantly finding new ways to generate the energy we need to keep the wheels of innovation turning. As our world becomes increasingly connected, the next step begins with you. Use this moment to reimagine the future of energy and power your ideas forward. What you challenge yourself to create will energize you, our first community, and maybe even our own. Welcome to First Energize, presented by Qualcomm.
I love that tagline, "The power is yours." I love how it makes me feel empowered that we have the ability to solve some of these problems. Right here at ASU, we have engineering programs that look at some of the problems that we're facing in relations to energy, that we're trying to solve these problems. So when you're looking at this table and you guys are solving what I consider to be extremely complex problems on this table, I know there's Legos, but they're still very complex problems, right? Think about all the how what you're learning applies to real life and to your potential future career in this area. All right, programs a little bit. You want me to take all three? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. So the way FIRST is organized is, it used to be that where we started in the 4th grade, and there was such interest, it just recently went where we are now addressing everything from pre-kindergarten all the way to the 12th grade, all the way to when you go to college. And what we've done is split it into 3 categories. So the first one is FLL, First Lego League. The second one is FTC First Tech Challenge, which is what was going on in the other room. And the third one is called FRC, First Robotics Competition, which is how FIRST got started in 1989, was with FRC. And it's grown to be what it is today with well over 100,000 teams throughout the world. So FLL is for, like I said, everything from pre-K to about 4th grade. It's split into 3 different categories, Discover, Explore, and then Challenge, which is what this table is right here, is Challenge. And it's a progression where the kids start out just playing with Duplo-sized Legos in the beginning. They go up to Explorer, where now they're programming, things are starting to move, they have to design a trifold folder, and so they learn about presentation skills, and they're judged, and they judge each other, and then they progress into this, which is FLL Challenge, where they go in front of judges and have to present what they've done for the season, and the robot is pre-programmed and does up to 2.5 minutes of competition on the table. When they get to middle school and high school, they progress up to First Tech Challenge. The robot that they build is 18 by 18 by 18 inches, and they can use anything. As long as it isn't a toxic material or dangerous in any way, they can use it. They have to program using a Java-based programming language, And they play on a 12 by 12 field. And that field, if you're interested, is set up in the room next door. And you can go have a look at it. And that'll give you an idea of the next step as the kids progress through first. And then the final one is for high school students. It's called FRC, where the robots, you saw them in some of the videos. The robots are huge. And they play on about a basketball-sized field. Huge teams. I've been to Worlds where I've seen teams of 30 students, and they have a PR department and a marketing department and a branding department on the team. These are 15, 16, 17-year-old students learning real life skills of running a large organization. And they do this at all levels. You can do that, but at the FRC level, it takes on almost a company-size operation. So we tell you a little bit about that so that you understand that this is the beginning, and that everything you learn here will progress as you go through your educational journey. And then when you're ready to go to a university like ASU, we have robotics clubs, we have satellite clubs. My son, who's studying robotics engineering here, does that surprise you? Has found one where they are solving real problems that NASA has sent them, and they want to know what the students can come up with. So what you're doing in your innovation project here, this is real life. These are skills that will take you all the way through your educational journey and through your career. All right, any questions about that? Okay.
This isn't a robot. It very well may have hydraulic arms, a drivetrain, and a circuit board, but this isn't a robot. This is a lesson in humility, hard work, and collaboration. This is a CrossFit workout for the muscle upstairs. This is an apple for the next generation of Newtons. It's a lot of things, but this isn't a robot. This is a roadmap that leads straight to engineering. This is a rock to shatter 1,000 glass ceilings, a rope to pull a generation up and out of poverty, a sledgehammer to break down cultural barriers, and a universal language spoken in every nation on earth. And because of that, this is a compass that can help point the way to peace. But please, don't think this is just a robot. This is Glastonbury for technology. This is mission control for the next moonshot. This is the Rosetta Stone to help translate the future. This is the sport that will help us win tomorrow. This is the software to program ourselves to cure cancer, build a clean engine, or step foot on Mars. But this isn't a robot. It's a machine to build the people who will change the world.
Perfect. So we also know that building a team and kind of overall putting on FLL is a big deal, right? We want to make sure that you guys are being able to really partake in all these amazing things. So we want to make sure that we give a special thanks to our sponsors for our Arizona State University kind of component within our Ira A. Fulton Schools of Engineering, and then as well as the Karis Foundation. And so with that being said, I want to give a special thanks because with that, we are able to offer scholarships for our teams and groups. So if you guys haven't already, our scholarship is open. So Arizona State University is excited to provide teams with scholarships to help cover the direct cost of that program, right? Really, what can that be? That could be like if you guys need a new team, fill out the scholarship form. If you guys need kind of a new field set, a new spike robot, or if you guys just want kind of funding for those registration fees, we understand that can sometimes be a hurdle as well. We want to make sure that you guys are supported in any which way that we could possibly help. So if you guys haven't already, feel free to scan that QR code and we'll be able to apply for that scholarship. Priority deadlines is going to be September 11th, so tomorrow. We just wanted to keep it open a little bit longer for any of the teams that are visiting us today had the opportunity to submit that application. But let's say later on you find yourself looking for a little bit more funding as well. Our final deadline is going to be October 21st. Shortly after that deadline, we will start reviewing them and kind of distributing those as soon as possible, as we know that we are kind of diving deep into our season already. So without further ado, who's ready and who's energized to get this season started? Come on, yeah. All right, here we go. All right, and of course, we couldn't really get this kickoff off the ground without hearing from First themselves. Here we go.
Hello, First Lego League teams from around the world. I'm Kim Werman, Senior Director of First Lego League. Welcome to the super-powered season. I am so excited to see so many new and returning teams joining us this year. Well, you'll explore where energy comes from and how it's distributed, stored, and used. This season, you'll use your superpowered creativity to work to reimagine and innovate for a better energy future. From First Lego League Discover to Explore to Challenge, I am excited to see students ages 4 to 16 experiment and grow their critical thinking, teamwork, and coding skills, all while having fun. Coaches, you've been provided with materials such as the team meeting guide and engineering notebook to help guide you and your team members through the season. There are also a variety of resources available on our website to enhance your team's experience and learn more about the energy journey. As we say in First Lego League, teamwork makes the dream work, and we can't wait to see what your team accomplishes this season. This is our moment to think about what the future uses of energy might be and the amazing possibilities it can unlock. Let's build it together. Good luck, teams, and let us know how your season is going using #superpowered on your social media.
Hello, First Lego League team, and welcome to Superpowered, part of the First Energized presented by Qualcomm season. I'm Chloe Callahan from Corporate Responsibility at Qualcomm, and we are so happy to be part of this exciting season as you put your superpowered creativity to work and explore where energy comes from, how it's generated, how it gets to you, and how much you're using. Each time we plug in, fuel up, turn a key, flip a switch, or press a button to make something go, we're using energy that's delivered to us in many different ways. At Qualcomm, our technologies offer innovative ways to maximize the performance of devices while reducing the amount of energy they use. With 5G, we have the opportunity to help lower greenhouse gas emissions, better manage electricity, reduce water consumption, and contribute to green job growth. To further explore how 5G technologies are helping improve environmental sustainability, visit the First Lego League game and season page. In First Energized, the power is yours. It's your new ideas that can unlock tomorrow's energized world. Good luck, First Lego League.
All right, so many of you guys may be asking yourselves, when can we really put our robot to the test, right? So these are going to be our qualifiers for our Arizona. So November 5th is going to be held in Yuma, Arizona. December 3rd, we're going to have locations such as Tucson, Arizona, 2 in Chandler, Arizona, and then as well as North Phoenix. December 10th, Flagstaff, Arizona. December 11th is going to be in Mesa, Arizona. And then December 17th will also have a Mesa location. Now, of course, there may be additional offerings from these qualifiers, but we always typically open our registration early October, so just around the corner for you guys to kind of start looking at these dates, start reserving which one you guys would like to attend, and then hopefully see you guys all back for state champions in January 14th and the 15th as well. So without further ado, how many of you guys have already started working either on your fields or your robots? Can I get a raise of hands of who's been already actively going out in there? Perfect, so that's wonderful. Now we're gonna hand it on to our very own head referee, Rich Gomez, which will be able to talk about the field and get into kind of all the amazing things that the field has to offer.
I have a question. Yes, ma'am. I don't, what does first mean? We keep talking about this thing called first. Do you know? Maybe there's someone in this room who might know.
Is there anyone who knows? Remind me.
First. Who knows?
I think 4.
Yes. I was. Is there a little hand? Do you know? Who wants to shout it out? Oh, right there. All right. Do you want the microphone?
Is the first competition to ever feature Legos.
Yeah. It is. Do you know what FIRST stands for? The letters. Did you know? Yeah. Yeah. Let's see if this lady knows. Your coach? Yes? Okay, here we go.
It stands for Inspiration and Recognition of Science and Technology.
Yay! For inspiration and recognition of science and technology. You see how that spells FIRST? That's what we're talking about. And here's Rich.
All right, thank you, Elaine. Great to see you all. How's your day going so far? What do you think? What do you think of the season? I saw a number of hands go up that you've already started working on the field and started working on those robots and the projects and all that. Well, it is exciting to be here in front of you as the head referee for the season. And before I start going into what's going on here on the field, show of hands, who is in their rookie season? First year, never done this before. Awesome, I love it. Look at all those hands out there. Welcome to the team, welcome to the family, the community of FIRST. It is a wonderful journey, as was indicated earlier, as Elaine said. Now, with that, let's the hands of the veterans. Hands of the veterans. So you rookies, look around. Hold your hands high if you're a veteran team, okay? Today is all about getting to know each other. Okay, so rookies, there are a few hands here. I see some coaches out there that I recognize from previous years. One of the beautiful things about FIRST is our commitment to helping each other. So that co-opetition, yeah, we compete. We're after the scores, but we're also in a cooperative environment. And so I know that the teams that are out here that are veterans are more than willing to help out and answer questions and kind of help bring you along. You know, that's what it's all about. So it's an exciting program. I'm excited to be here, obviously, I hope. And with that, I'll launch into kind of the game and all that, but I want to put out a few things to begin with. Is if you're a rookie team, it can be intimidating coming up here to the match for the tournaments. There are a lot of jitters from the first year, and it's stressful, and it's exciting, and it's just wonderful. and nerve-wracking at the same time. The robot may or may not perform like you want it to. There's a lot of variation in the robot, so expect that. I've seen robots that come to the field and just sit there after they're pushed to start, and it's not doing anything. Oh no, what happened? I've seen tears, I've seen shouts of joy, and all that. So the emotions are high at the tournaments. If you're a rookie team, I would say don't be intimidated by that, embrace it. You know, if you're a rookie team, you may have I don't know if I want to compete, I don't know if we're there yet. At least come to a tournament and see what it's like. So if you don't quite get that, but I would encourage you to go ahead and try just one mission. You know, have the team come up and just do one mission if you can get that. That is success, and that the tournament is all about celebrating the success of what you've done in the season. Your project, you put together the research, you put together a presentation to the judges. It's a chance to get in front of people and talk about what you did, show off what you did. You know, so take that for what it's worth and celebrate. And that's what the tournaments are. They're a celebration of what you've done. So going into that, there is resource, the rule book, that is very important that all the teams, and I look at the teams as your coaches or mentors, and then you've got the team, the youth, and all that. Youth, you need to get in and understand, and the rules are written pretty clearly. So you should be able to digest them pretty well as a team and get in, know those rules, know what's going on with the game and all the missions. Select 1 or 2 missions that you want to attack at the beginning of the season and start programming and start making it happen. Reread those missions so you fully understand how it works and that you're getting it right. And I'll go through some of the missions here in a few minutes. But then go back and read again, because you'll find nuances in the words. But like I said, they've really done a good job at streamlining the manual. Coaches, lead the youth to understand those without giving away the answers. Help them discover. It's all about discovering. And then the other thing that I want to put out is, do we have, where did Marilyn go? So I want to see if I can get the cover slide from the coaches workshop up. And I just thought about this. How do you get my information? So right off the top, while we're seeing if we can post that at some point throughout the day, is as head referee, I'm committed to help you as a team out, and I will entertain any questions throughout the season. If you want to ask me something, if you have a question on a mission, the gameplay, whatever, I am available. And I can be reached via phone or internet, an email. I've got an email address. My email address is hopefully pretty easy to remember. AZ First, Arizona First, so azfirst.referee@earthlink.net. And we'll, like I said, we'll try and put that up on the board here pretty soon. But azfirst.referee@earthlink.net is my email address. And I am open. I love to talk to the teams. I've even zoomed in with some teams before and had them ask some questions, show me how the robot is working and all of that. And I don't mind taking those questions, and especially from the youth. I will talk to coaches, but I'd rather talk to the youth. Okay? So with that, those are kind of some of the highlights. There are a number of rules to understand. Understand what the launch area is, so you can see the board here. There are 2 launch areas. There's this launch area over here on the right side, and there's this launch area over here on the left side. That has some specific definitions. Being completely in, completely on, partly in, those are all aspects of gameplay that you need to be aware of. What's home? So home is this strip of black on either side, plus the launch area, okay? So knowing how those interaction, and when the robot returns from doing the autonomous work out in the field, it's gotta be completely in. So if anything is hanging over onto the field of play and you interrupt that robot or pick it up, you lose one of the discs, okay? You've got 6 red discs that give you points. at the beginning of the game. So pay attention to those rules of completely in. The robot and anything it's bringing back has to be completely in home. Here's a tip since you all are here today. Program your robot to come into the launch area aspect as it's coming into whichever side you want it to go to. That way you can be assured you've got a bigger area of play here for the for getting it into home and being able to touch it. All right. So there's a lot here with the models and everything. I want to talk about the game elements real quick. You've got energy units. So these little kind of discs or cylinders. You've got several different styles of them that are in play. And these will give you your points interacting with the mission models. And there are certain ways to interact with the mission models, and there are certain rules that are highlighted in blue that if equipment has a specific definition of stuff you bring in to help you accomplish the missions. Okay, if any equipment is touching an energy unit or a model, it may not score. So that's highlighted in blue text in the rule books. So make sure you pay attention to that. But you've got your energy units here. You've got, we'll energize this model. Let's see, do we have?
It's this one, I believe.
Okay, can we get the camera up? And then we'll go back up. So let's see. Camera, can you zoom in on, let's see, let's go over to this side here. So zoom in on the oil platform. That's this mission right here. And if you raise the lever here, you're going to eject into the truck a black fuel module. Okay, so that is kind of, again, the fossil fuel, so oil represented by that. So you've got 3 of those in play. You've got 12 of the energy units in play. You've got some blue water units that are in play. Okay, so the blue water units, you'll notice there are a couple. There's one, and actually let's look at this model here. Can we zoom in on this guy here? So this is our hydroelectric dam and power plant. And so if you release the water unit, it should pop out an energy unit. And now you've got the water unit in play, okay? So there are points associated with that. So the water unit is blue. Like I said, you've also got the looped water units. And this is another very important point when you come up to a tournament. You know, one of the things about the referees is we're here to help you. Yeah, we've got rules to take into consideration and all of that, but don't be afraid to ask the referee if you see something wrong with the field. Our field reset team does a great job. The refs do a fairly good job as well of making sure that all the models are properly oriented and online here. And they've got specific orientations. Let me get out of the way of the camera. And so you've got specific orientations. The loops may or may not be in a position that really helps you out, okay? So if you come to a match and you see something is not quite right with the field, like one of the loops is not properly positioned and you know you're going to do that mission, you might want to ask the referee, hey, ref, can we get that loop fixed? Okay, we want to see you do that, okay? That's part of the quality control as you're setting up. So don't be afraid to ask the refs to adjust things. All right, so the looped water goes on these red hangers here on the backside of the power or of the hydroelectric dam. Okay, so they hang, and you get points for hanging on 1 red hook or 2 red hooks. You know, but if you hang the 3rd one on one of those red hooks, so now we've got 2 on one, 1 on another. Only 1 scores per red hook. So this red hook with 2 loops on it, kind of a wasted energy. All right? So all you need to do is loop 1, you get that score for that red hook. If for some reason the robot hangs it over both of them, and actually let's do this, okay? So there you've got the water hanging over both of those red hooks, that does not score. So keep that in mind, and again, that's where reading and rereading those missions really come into play. All right, so that's a big one. And then the other way to score the water is having the water touching the reservoir. So inside that reservoir frame right here, and having the water unit. The loop can be hanging out, that's not a problem, but the water unit needs to be touching inside. All right, so that's kind of the water units. We've also got a hybrid unit. Where's the hybrid unit? The hybrid unit powers the truck right here. So we've got a black and white unit here that powers the truck. Okay, pretty cool mission here in that you got to kind of be precise in delivering that fuel unit into the truck to then make the truck go. If you do it a little too hard, you might risk this hybrid unit going somewhere you don't want it to go. And you miss out on some points there in releasing the truck. So that's a pretty cool mission there. So you've got one of those. You've also got a rechargeable unit. Okay, so a rechargeable unit, gray and green. It's over here on the recharging platform. That can be very good for you to use in the dinosaur. The dinosaur is a pretty cool model this year. It's got a little back that opens up, and you can make that dinosaur an electric dinosaur by using either of the fuel unit, the regular energy unit, or the rechargeable, and you get more points if you stick it in there. And you can do this one by hand as long as you're operating within the confines of home. Okay, so get that in, and then you get the dinosaur from this side over to this side. So the dinosaur always starts on the right side in home and then gets over. So when you load that energy unit, there's some strategy there maybe to think about, because if you lose the dinosaur on the way taking it over to the other side, it stays there unless the robot can bring it back. Okay, so again, look at the rules and how interruption can affect a model if the robot misbehaves on the field. Okay, so that's a pretty cool mission right there. Another one that's very precise is the TV. So you've got over in this corner, you've got the couple of Caped Crusaders watching their favorite Avengers or DC comic movie, I guess maybe. And they lift the TV up, deposit the energy unit in this little holding area. But if they get too aggressive with it and push too hard, the energy unit may pop out. You may lose some points there. So be careful with that precision as you design your missions and all that. You've got the windmill here. This is pretty cool. It also uses regular energy units. And using the lever here, it just pushes them out. And yeah, you can actually feel some wind back behind the windmill. It's pretty cool. Every year there's a mission that is a cooperation mission with the other team that's working. And if both teams get that mission done, then you get extra points, as both teams will get extra points for that. This year, it's a high five. It's called the power grid. Okay, so you got this guy here that starts with a hand on your side, and then if you activate it, that'll give you some points. And then if the other team over here activates it, high five. The energy grid is complete. There are sparks flying between those hands and all that. Can you see them? It's pretty cool. So that gets you more points if the hands are both up. So FIRST has some entry-level code to help get you started on this mission. That's kind of a bonus this year, in that FIRST really wants to see that competition or that cooperation going on during the competition. And then you've got other areas. I'm not going to highlight all of the models. I just want to give a rough feel. When we open the field up in a minute, you'll be able to come up and take a closer look. We can talk more about some of those missions and all that. But I just want to kind of highlight some of those things that are going on here. There's a little dinosaur within the toy factory right here that's activated in certain ways. So there's a lot to be done. And that's the other thing to remember. There's a lot of missions. You don't have to do them all. You know, it's to do it all takes an experienced team. There's some experienced teams. Russ, have you guys ever done all of the missions? Yeah, I'm getting a head shake. You know, Russ and the Lug Nuts have been around for years, and they do great things. And yeah, so don't feel like you have to, especially if you're a rookie team, don't feel like you have to do every mission. All right, one mission is great, celebrate that. Okay, I also want to talk real quick about the start, because how many veterans do we have again? Raise your hand if you're a veteran team. Things are different on the field this year. You've got 2 home areas, which is a complexity because we've got a situation, and let's see, can we get a team up? So do I have a team that wants to volunteer on the spot for, come on up. And we can have 2 teams come up. We've got 2 fields here, so you guys, come on up. Thank you for volunteering. Let's give these teams a round. What team are you with? RoboColts. I know that team. I've seen you in action before, I believe. Okay, so we got another team, right? Or are you all one team? Okay, you're another team. Beautiful. This is great. What team is this?
The Tomfooleries.
Tomfooleries, another great team. I recognize you guys as well. So good to see you here. All right, so for starting out, we've got a couple of things to do when you come up for a match. Okay, and it's pretty exciting. You're bringing your robot. Hopefully you've got your robot contained in something so that as those jitters are playing out. Do you guys ever get jitters when you come up to do a tournament? Do you guys get jitters when you, yeah, kind of nerve-wracking, isn't it? So you want to bring your robot, one robot, all the attachments, the equipment, the jigs that you want to use for alignment and all that, you want to bring it to the field, hopefully in some container, so that you don't drop it on the way. And I've seen robots dropped on the way, and oh, it is bad. So you bring that to the table, and the first thing that you're going to do is come up, and the referee is going to inspect your equipment. Make sure you got everything, all the parts and pieces, and no more than what's required there. And you're going to have an inspection of will it fit. And it's got to fit within the launch area this year. Past years, it's been home, right? And in fact, past years, you've gotten a bonus if it fits in a triangle just outside of the launch area. This year's different. This year, it's got to fit within the launch areas. Okay, so all your robot, your equipment, your jigs, all that is going to be inspected, and it's got a 12-inch height. Same as previous years, 12-inch height. If it fits within one launch area and meets that 12-inch height, you get bonus points. So you can already start the game with even more points. You start with all the red disc points as well that you can lose, but you're not going to lose that point for the inspection, okay? And you can hold all that stuff in if you need to show that it fits within the completely inside the launch area. Okay, so now the inspection is done. We've got to divide the team onto the 2 sides. This is a must. So if you're like Tomfooleries here that has 2 members, guess what's going to happen? One's going to be over there, one's going to be over here. So go ahead and position yourself. Okay, if you've got multiple members of a team, these are called technicians right here. You can have 2 technicians at the table on each side. So you can have 4 technicians, 2 and 2. Yeah, that's 4. You can have 4 technicians at the table. So here we've got 5, okay? So you've got to divide yourselves amongst the sides. So go ahead and divide yourself as a team. So remember, at least one player has to be on one of the sides. So we've got 2 and we've got 3. You can divide them equally. You don't have to divide them equally. If you're with coaches meeting a workshop a couple weeks ago, I mentioned equally dividing or as equal as possible. You don't have to. One person could be on one side and the rest of the team could be on the other side. That's completely fine, but both sides have to be manned. Okay, so now get in position to start. So 2 technicians. One is going to have to start on the backside. So one of you back up in the kind of the holding pattern. Okay, so just like a normal tournament. So one move back a little bit more. And you can change in. So 2 technicians up front. So yep, come on up. One of you come up. One of you, okay, stay on that side. This is an important demonstration that I'm setting up here. That's why I'm working with you guys like it. Okay, so now we're ready to start. We do the countdown, 3, 2, 1, go, Lego, robots activated, off and running, okay? The robot's doing its thing. Now, you can change out team members, and do you guys change out team members doing missions? You haven't gotten, but in the past you have, right? Yeah, so you can change out your technicians. So Josh, go ahead and change out with George there. Okay, so now we're ready to start a new mission. Life is good. George wants to come back in because he's got another mission he's going to run. So George, do you think you can come in on this side? You can't come in on this side. You've got to stay on the side you're at. So George can tap in with either Josh or John again, but George can't come over to this side. Meanwhile, these two over here, while the robot's doing stuff, they are set on their side of the team, or on the table, and they can't change sides no matter what the robot is doing. So it's a little bit of a different twist this year, okay? So are there any questions about that? Okay, thank you for being volunteers on the spot. I appreciate it. Let's give our volunteers a round of applause. All right, like I said, I did that to highlight it's so different this year, and the fact that right now it's a must divide between the two. Now, one other thing that I've been asked, and the jury is still out, I think there's going to be an update, so along with the manual, remember there are challenge updates online, and you saw on the videos the First Inspires website and a whole list of where to find resources and whatnot. I find it easiest just to do FLL Challenge Update in a search engine. So FLL Challenge Update. And one of the first things to pop up is the resource page. So that'll get you a good, easy transition into the resource page. One of the links on the resource page is the challenge updates. So you want to take a look at those on a regular basis and visit those. I don't know if we'll see an update on handling the robot. So the question is, I've got a robot that I want to get from this area, this home area, and I really want for the next mission, I want to start it over here. So the robot does stuff over here, and it comes back into home. Can I then take the robot and hand it off to the team on the other side so that they can start the next mission over there? Interesting question. It's fairly clear, but also fairly obscure. I've been reading the forums, and that's why I say I expect an update. Right now, the way it looks and the way it reads, if you really look at it, is the team cannot hand the robot over. The robot has to go from this launch area. It's got to cross the field if it wants to start in that home area, okay? Elaine?
Should a robot get stuck somewhere on not that ever happens, but if it gets stuck on there, is there a rule as to which side of the table gets to go rescue the robot?
That is an excellent question, and it actually spells it out that if the robot is outside, completely outside of the launch area, then it can be interrupted because it's misbehaving and got stuck somewhere. It can be interrupted by either side and brought back to either side, okay? So that's one area where, it starts over here. It doesn't have to come back over here when it's finished. It can come back over here, but it gets hung up. This team, sub-team, grabs it, interrupts it, brings it back to start the next mission here. That's completely fine. So great question there. So those are the main kind of highlights that I wanted to bring up and to demonstrate, because I think that's a huge part of this year's game, is that team division. One of the forum posts that I saw was, I've got a team that's veteran team. They like starting from the same launch area every time. Do I have to divide them? You have to put one over here. Now, the one over here, even if you're running all the missions from the left-hand side, the team member on the right side can play a very vital role in reducing the variation at the start by lining up. Can be another set of eyes to help line that robot up on certain aspects for the models. So the player over here can help out in the missions, and that could be a vital role from what I've seen in the past. So at this point, I want to open the floor up for any questions that you might have.
Can you have 2 robots on one side?
Excellent question, and again, that's in the rule books, but you can only bring 1 robot to a match. You can have multiple robots in your pits, and you don't have to run the same robot in each match, but you can only bring 1 robot into the competition area. Okay, question over here? Did you have one? Did I say another hand? Nope. Question over here.
So during the 2.5 minutes, do you have to start from both sides? Or can it start from just one side and then have like a person there standing?
Yeah, there's nothing in the instructions that say you have to, at some point in the game, have started from both launch areas. So and that's kind of what I was alluding to in that last comment that I was making about having 1 person on one side. Both sides have to have a person, but you can start the robot in 1 launch area for the entire 2.5 minutes. Other questions? Yes, sir.
For the missions, is it like, for the whole mission time, is it like 2.5 minutes or is it longer?
It is 2.5 minutes. Yep, so as soon as we give the countdown, 3, 2, 1, Lego, boom, that 2.5 minutes is going. At 2.5 minutes, you'll hear a buzzer go off, and at that point, the robot stops, and we go ahead and score the field as it lays at that exact 2.5 minute point. Okay. And you can also stop the robot earlier. So say you've got 2 or 3 missions, you run them, you've still got a minute left on the clock, the robot is out on the field, you're celebrating because it did everything perfectly every time you wanted it to, and you don't want it to sit there for a minute and just kind of burn up energy. We want to conserve energy, right? This year is all about being super powered. Well, sometimes we want to shut down and power off that super powered robot. So you can reach across and turn off your robot, or have the referee turn off the robot and just let the referee know, hey, Mr. or Miss Ref, I want to turn off the robot. We're finished running matches. You can turn it off. Technically, that's an interruption, but because you're not doing any other missions, you're not going to get penalized for it. You won't get that interruption penalty if you turn it off. Okay. Other questions? Question over here. Go.
Are you allowed to start the robot from like the edge of the launch area?
As long as it's completely in that launch area. And that includes any wires or any attachments or all that. One other thing on the launch, so that reminds me, so thank you for reminding me. When you're launching, in previous years, if you had a jig, something that would help you align that robot, you know, maybe you've got a piece of Lego up against the wall here, and you're holding it down because when the robot starts, sometimes it kind of bumps it and then gets misaligned. This year, you cannot hold anything down. Anything that is going to move has to be hands off. You just have to touch the robot to start the robot, however you want to do that. Over here.
You said that we can't use a Lego. Are we allowed to use a garage?
A jig, are you talking about? By garage, you mean a Lego structure that encompasses the robot? Sure, as long as it fits completely within the launch area, you can do that. And again, you got to be hands off when you start the robot, though.
On the topic of having multiple robots, is it possible to have a robot that comes out when you power off the first robot?
Interesting question. I like the thought, but I would count that as 2 robots. So you can only have 1 robot on the field. Okay, I think we've probably got time for one or two more questions, and then I want to open the field up if you want to come up and take a closer look. So we've got a question back here. Are you plasma or are you lug nuts this year?
So, if we were to have a jig, is it allowed to extend into the home area as well as the launch area?
Another great question. I have not seen anything in the rules, and I'm going to recheck those rules, but if I remember right, jigs can extend into the home area. Just the robot and any equipment that it's going to use, any mission models that it's carrying, must start completely in. So one more question. Let's go over here with this young man.
How does the what happens if like the robot programs like badly?
You know, I've seen that happen several times. You think you got a program built perfectly, and you get up to the field, and you push that button, and the robot starts going wild. That happens. You know, what I recommend, take that interruption penalty, reset it, try again. Maybe it's a connector that's not plugged in correctly that's causing that motor to act funky or the robot to act funky. So check your connections and then try it again. You know, and I have seen that, and I've also seen robots come and somehow all the programs got wiped out of memory, and the robot just sits there and does nothing. And the team celebrates. Because remember, you've also got gracious professionalism going on and being judged by the referees. How you act at the table, how you act around the tournament as a whole is all about gracious professionalism and celebrating the event, working together as a team, celebrating the victories of the other teams. So if your robot's not working right, you're cheering it on, because we know robots do better when they're cheered on. But sometimes those programs don't quite function properly. So keep your spirits up, cheer on the other team's robot, because we know robots do better when they're cheered on. Okay, so celebrate the other team even though yours is doing bad, and you feel bad because your robot is messing up. But remember, you've got 3 matches, and only the top score counts. So if you have that program that's acting up, you've got 2 more matches potentially to get a higher score. And the top score of those 3 matches counts. So you can have a bad match. All right, one more question, then we'll open it up.
What happens when something on the board breaks?
When something on the board breaks, we look at why did it break? Did it break because of a robot interacting with it? Remember, you can't do destruction to the mission models. That happens. You know, you will lose any points, or you won't get credit for scoring on that. If in the process of breaking you score something else, then that score may be invalid as well. We'll have to look at that. If it breaks accidentally, or if it's not quite functioning right, and we as a ref see that, okay, the windmill, something's not right there when they're releasing that, you know what? They gave a good effort. We're going to give you the benefit of the doubt, and we're going to call it scored. So there are a couple of different ways to look at what's going on there. So at this point, thanks for being here. For you rookie teams, again, welcome to the family, welcome to the community. I'll be available throughout the day to take questions. You know, I'm going to open the field up here, and you'll be able to come take a look. You've got other questions, please, I'll be here to answer them. Veterans, thanks for everything you've given us through the years. I look forward to seeing you. I look forward to seeing all of you at a tournament at some point. I don't know which tournaments I'm going to be at. Obviously, I can't be at all of them, but definitely looking forward to seeing you in action. Again, if you need to get a hold of me, azfirst.referee@earthlink.net, or my phone number. I'll be happy to give you my phone number as well. So have a great day. Come on up, take a look at the field. And, do we have anything else from Elaine? Yes, we are judging gracious professionalism, yep.
All right, testing. All right. All right, can everybody hear me okay? I'm making sure I got the mic set up here right. So, how many people are excited to be here? Excited for FLL? All right, I was hoping all the kids raise their hands and the adults at least somewhat, right? So, to me, FLL, I've done FLL, FRC, some VEC stuff, some other robotic stuff, you know, from the big robots to the little robots. I still really like, most importantly, seeing the spark that the kids have with the FLL robot. So there's something about this size of robots and formats. So I just want to introduce myself. I'm Russ Harris, and this is Daja Harris, and we'll get into that in a minute. Do you want? So we've been coaching FLL for probably, I think, 14 seasons now. So we've got a little bit of experience with this. This is a team from probably about 8-9 years ago, the Lugnuts. We've still been coaching the same team, the Lugnuts, each year. So we enjoy Lugnuts. So next slide. And then we're also coaches of FRC Team 2403 Plasma Robotics. So it's been kind of fun to see some of these kids come from FLL into FRC, and even now go off to college, and even now working in the robotics industry or the engineering industry. So a lot of them said they got their start right here in FLL. So before we get going, how many people here are with rookie teams? It's their first year. All right, awesome. So how many people in here are veteran teams? Because I recognize a couple teams here. So the veteran teams definitely have some wealth of information they can share, and we'll hopefully allow the rookie teams here to be able to get a feel for what is a tournament day look like. And each year things are a little bit different. And can we get you guys to come sit over here in the center section, over here in this section? So hopefully throughout this you get a little bit better feel for what's going on at a tournament. I know our first year we showed up at a tournament, we had no idea what to expect. What was going on, what do we need to be prepared for? So this has kind of been one of the things we put together to help out over the years.
Okay, the first year we were in FLL, people were telling us all sorts of stuff. We found out a lot of it wasn't true. They said, oh, put a girl on your team, you'll get to go to state, because they let any teams with girls go to state. No, that wasn't the case. Still nice to have girls on the team though. But so we made this workshop to kind of help give coaches an idea of what they were doing, because that first year especially is really overwhelming. So regional competitions, they're one-day events. There's usually about 15 to 30 teams that go. We've had them as low as 10 to 12 and as many as like 40, but they're usually somewhere between 15 and 30 teams. You get to compete with your robot at least 3 times, and then you're judged in 3 separate areas: core values, technical robot, and projects. So you need to be ready for those as well as the robot game. Here's a sample tournament schedule. All tournaments are slightly different. This is usually when you have a lot of teams. You'll check in the morning, then you'll have judging sessions, then you'll have lunch. Oh, I went too far. It's going more than one on me. Okay. You'll check in. There's usually a coaches meeting first thing in the morning just to make sure everybody understands the rules and is on the same page with how things are going to go. Opening ceremonies. Then you have judging sessions and robot rounds, and you have those pretty much until 3 o'clock with a lunch break in the middle. And then you'll have sometimes a robot tournament just for fun while they're doing judge deliberations. Some tournaments do these, some don't. And then you have closing ceremonies and awards at the end of the day. So it's a full day, usually starting somewhere between 7 and 8, and then they usually are done by 4 or 5 if everything goes well. Sometimes when you, it's going more than one. Okay, sometimes when you have a smaller tournament, they'll do this modified schedule where you have judging in the morning and then robot rounds in the afternoon. And then you have closing ceremonies and awards at the end. That's pretty normal to have that at the end. Each tournament is slightly different, so when you sign up for a tournament, your tournament director should tell you a little bit more about exactly what it's going to be like. Here's a sample schedule from a tournament last year. You find your team and your number, and then it tells you like which matches you have, where your practice round is, and what your judging time is. So you'll get something kind of like this in the beginning, probably a day or two before your tournament, so that you know where to go. It's helpful knowing when your robot rounds are because that's when the parents and the families like to come watch. So if you know when your robot rounds are going to be, you can let them know ahead of time. Okay, first thing in the day is check-in. For check-in, you want to, first of all, try not to run late and check in so that you're rushed. It's not too big of a deal, but if you get there early, it helps a little. Everybody on your team needs to be signed up in the first system and have signed the waiver, and then you need to print out a roster to bring it and turn in when you sign in. Now, if you can't get everybody to sign up online, there are paper forms you can have filled out. But the nice thing is, once you sign up online, you're signed up the whole entire year. So no matter how many tournaments, if you make it to the state tournament, you're still signed up. So all you gotta do is print out the roster again. So bring that with you. Only one person needs to check in, so you can tell your families, your parents if they come, that they can just go straight to the pits. Parents and families don't need to check in. Just each team needs to send one person to check in, let them know you're there, turn in your forms, all that kind of stuff. And then the rest of the team can go to the pit and set up their pit, do what they want over there. Make sure you know your team number. I know they're kind of long, but that's how they'll call you for the robot games and for judging, so you'll need to be able to look up your team number throughout the day. The pit, this is usually a table for each team. You might get a chair or two. It's where you can keep your stuff, like your robot, any project posters, things like that. Now, some people get fancy and they'll decorate their pit, set up, have a tablecloth or something. You really don't need to. It's up to what you want. You can decorate it if you want. Some teams bring out a handout or some sort of giveaway to give other teams or to give judges. That's totally optional. It's just a place to kind of be your home base. It's kind of nice. You can go around and visit the other teams' pits and see what they've done so that you can kind of get a good picture, good ideas for next time. Okay, the competitions. These are the culmination of all your work for the year. For the robot competition, there's usually one practice round, and this doesn't count. It's just to get on the tables and kind of see how your robot does, see if there's any issues you need to do. It's a practice, so your team can practice being on both sides of the table this year, things like that. Then after the practice rounds, there are 3 official rounds. So you'll get to go compete with your robot 3 different times during the competition. It's just your one top score that counts though. So if you have a really good match, but then a really bad match, it doesn't matter. You only need one good score. So out of those 3 robot rounds, you'll be ranked by your highest score. You're also gonna get a gracious professionalism score. The referees will rank you from 1 to 4 on how they think you're doing as far as core values go. Are you arguing with the referees? Are you congratulating the other teams? Things like that. So be mindful as you're competing that you're also getting watched for gracious professionalism. When you go up to the table, the kids should be carrying the robots first of all, but make sure you have your attachments and anything else you need for the robot game. You take them with you. You'll be cued probably 10 to 15 minutes before the game, so make sure and just take everything with you as you wait for your turn on the table. Again, know your team number. They're going to call you by your team number all day, so try and make sure you know it. As when we run the competitions, we try and use team names too, but we call you by your team number, so make sure the team all knows the team number. And if for some reason you're running late, make sure you go to your judging session and skip the robot rounds. Robot rounds can be made up. Judging sessions, it's really hard to make up a judging session. So if for some reason the schedule's running late, which it does sometimes, it's pretty easy to work you into the robot rounds late. Make sure you get to your judging on time. So you only have one judging session to try and get to now. So make sure you get to that judging session on time. Let the head referee or somebody in the robot round room know that you're going to miss, and then go to judging. Okay, so there's one 30-minute judging session where you'll be judged on all 3 areas. Innovation project, robot design, and core values. Okay, and the students are the ones in these sessions. Some tournaments let a coach come in and just observe, but the coaches are not allowed to participate. The team will need to set up, present, answer questions, and everything without any help from the adults. Here's how the session runs. This is also on the first site, but the team will go in, there'll be a welcome, the judge will say, hi, how you're doing, the team can put their stuff down. They'll probably ask them a couple of general questions about their team, and then they will go right in to let them do their innovation project presentation. This is where they'll tell them about what they've done with the project. They have 5 minutes to present, and then after they're done presenting, they'll have 5 minutes for questions. So the judges will ask them some questions about their project, so they need to be ready to answer some of those. Then they'll start their robot design presentation. This can be a formal presentation, or they can just tell them about their robot and their code. And then the coaches will ask about 5 minutes worth of questions on the robot. And then there'll be a few core values questions from the core values judge. And then they've added feedback so that the judges all three of them will give you feedback on your team and some things that they thought you did well and maybe some things that you can improve for the next tournament. Keeps going, more than one. There we go. So, innovation project judging session. This is the project where you're trying to find a better way to use energy. So, you're going to present what your team has done. What was the problem they decided to work on? What is the solution they found? And who did they share with? Those are the important things they need to present. Remember, the presentation is 5 minutes, so they have quite a bit of time to answer or to tell the judges about what they want to do. Make sure you prepare something ahead of time. They can just go in there and talk, but it goes a little smoother if you have something prepared. It can be a skit, it can be just like a pitch or something. The kids can show their stuff. You can really do anything you want. You can use technology usually, but my suggestion is if you use technology, make sure you have a backup plan. Because anytime you bring in a computer or a monitor or anything to use, there's bound to be some technical issues last minute. So make sure they have a backup plan just in case it doesn't work. Let's see. Yeah, you need to make sure and identify the problem you are solving. Be clear about what your solution is. Sometimes the solution's a little confusing, so make sure that the team knows how to clearly explain what their solution is. And then who you've shared your ideas with. All the ideas are so great. You need to share them with family, maybe teachers, people in the industry, things like that. So find some ways to share and let the judges know about that. And then everybody on the team should have some role in that presentation. So it's not just one person talking. It should be everybody, whether you have 2 people or 10 people on your team, everybody should have at least some part in that presentation. And then after that, the judges will ask you questions. So you can practice these ahead of time, have some people come up with some questions after listening to your project. You can look at the judges' rubrics and see what kind of things they're going to score you on, and then practice some questions about those if you want. The judges' rubrics are all on the first FLL site. Okay, robot design. You no longer show your robot actually running on a field during robot judging. What you're going to do is bring in your robot, bring in some code, and then tell the judges about your robot, or you can have a little presentation, you can just tell them. The important part is to tell the judges some of those things on the rubric, like how did you come up with your design process, what ways did you decide to do things and why, which missions did you want to do, those kind of things you'll want the kids to be able to talk about. And then after that presentation, there's about 5 minutes of questions again. Well, they're going to ask you a lot of those things, like why did you choose this mission? What do you think is the most creative thing about your robot? What's the most innovative thing? How did iterations improve your robot? Things like that. Your team should be able to explain some unique features about your robot. It helps if you have a few things about your robot that you want to talk about going in. So then you can show some of the things you think makes your robot unique or different, or some things you're really proud of that you were able to accomplish this season. And then again, no coaches, mentors, or parents are allowed to help the kids with this presentation, so they have to stand on their own and do it. They're usually pretty good at it. Core values. So you're going to have 3 minutes of core values questions at the end of the judging session. There's no longer a presentation. You don't need a core values board, so don't come in with a prepared presentation. You won't have time to to give it. The judges will be observing for core values during the entire 30-minute judging session. So they're going to see how you work together in your project presentation, how you answer questions together, how you talk about what you've done with the robot. Are you working as a team? Are you helping other teams? Things like that. The judges will ask the kids some questions. It's a lot about core values, about team organization. How do you split time between the different areas of core values and project and robot and things like that. And then, again, if you look at the rubrics ahead of time, you can kind of get an idea of some questions that they might ask in this judging session. Here's the FLL scoring. If you notice, the robot is only half of the total score. So while that's probably the most fun part for these kids is building the robot, it's only half of the total score. Robot judging is a quarter, and then the robot game is another quarter of the total score. And then you also have innovation project and core values with 25% each. So you'll be judged on these 4 areas, and then for the awards, the people that score the best in those areas will be able to get those awards. So at some regionals, they do a robot showcase. This is just a fun game at the end. It's usually single elimination or double elimination. Sometimes we just have every team go, and then we see who has the highest score. It's just for fun, keep the kids busy, give them a chance to run their robot a couple more times. It doesn't count towards awards, although some places do give a robot showcase award for the highest score in the robot showcase, but it's not any kind of qualifying award. It's just for fun and to give you a chance to enjoy your robot some more. And it's also optional, so if you don't want to do it, find another team to watch or watch some of the matches and cheer some of the teams on. Okay, at the very end of the day, it's closing ceremonies. All the teams will gather. The last few years we've had this remote, so it's been online. I think they'll probably mostly be in person this year, but we gather all the teams together and we have all the teams come up. Each member of each team gets a medal. They're pretty cool little FLL medals. We usually do a high five line. We haven't done that for the last few years. We'll see how things go, but they do high five line. All the volunteers will come up to the front and the kids get to get high fives. Now, to get an award, you have to participate in all of the judged areas. So you have to do the robot rounds, go to your judging, and get through all the judging and have participated that way to earn one of these awards. And then awards are based on merit and scores. The teams with the top overall score combined in all 4 of those areas are the ones that will move on to the state competition. Oops. Doesn't want to go back. There. That's an example of the high five line. This is our team going through. It's a lot of fun. The kids enjoy getting up, being able to thank all the volunteers. Only pressed it once. Okay, here's the awards that they give out at most of our tournaments. They're pretty standard. The main big award is the Champions Award, and this goes to the team with one of the highest overall scores. So they have a high score in all 4 areas. And then the Core Values Award goes to somebody with the highest ranked core values and so forth. With Innovation Project and Robot Design, the people that score really high in those are probably going to get one of those awards. They give out 1 at each in a regional. Sometimes at the state competition, they'll give out 3. So there'll be a first place Core Values Award and then a second and a third. But at regionals, they give 1 of each of these. And then there's the Robot Performance Award. This is the only award that you can win and win another award. Otherwise, each team only wins 1 award. But the Robot Performance Award goes to the team with the highest score in the regular robot rounds. So whoever's ranked number 1 in those robot rounds, they get the Robot Performance Award. And then there's a Coach Mentor Award. So students that are here, those of you on teams, when you go to a regional, you can nominate your coach or one of your mentors for the Coach Mentor Award. And usually, there's information about this sent to the coaches, but usually you can nominate the day of the tournament. So when you go to the tournament, you can ask at one of the information desks or something about the Coach Mentor Award, and you can nominate one of your coaches. We love to see a lot of teams nominate their coaches for these. And then regionals can also give out these other awards. Sometimes they give them all, sometimes they just give a couple. There's an Engineering Excellence Award, a Breakthrough Award, a Rising All-Star Award, and a Motivate Award. So those are some additional awards that you'll probably see at the regionals. Okay, so qualifying for the state competition. Just so that you know, just because you win an award does not mean that you necessarily get to go to the state competition. To decide who gets to go to the state competition, they take the highest rankings overall in all 4 categories. So they will rank all the teams from 1 to 20 or whatever of how they've done in all 4 areas, and the top ones will get to go. So a regional with 20 teams at the regional usually has about 4 to 6. It might be different. It kind of depends on how many teams are coming to state, how many teams there are participating, and how many teams are at your regional. But there's usually a fairly small percentage of teams that get to go to the state competition. So for example, if 6 teams move on, it'll be the ones that are ranked overall 1 through 6. Now, some of those teams may not have won an award because they weren't at the very top of core values, robot, or innovation project, but they overall were really high. So they might be the ones to go. So when you go to the awards ceremony, just because you won an award, like a robot performance award or a core values award or a robot design award, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to go on to state. Okay, just some tips for the end. Remember to have fun. This is about fun, and all these teams have accomplished so much. Even if you've just learned how to do a few things, you've accomplished a lot. So make sure and have fun. Make sure and talk to other teams. It's really fun to meet a lot of the other teams. Go around to the different tables, talk to the teams, see what they've done, get some ideas for the next year. There's practice tables usually at the tournaments, so you don't need to bring a whole table to practice on. There's usually at least 2 practice tables at each tournament that you'll have to use and take turns with other teams, but there's usually a sign up. So also remember to have gracious professionalism with this and try not to hog the table all day, let other teams in too. There's always teams that need to use it in an emergency because something happened in their last robot round, so be mindful of that. Plan what you're going to do for lunch before you get to the tournament. This is a great opportunity to have a parent who would like to help with something, have them organize a lunch. There's been years where we've brought just stuff for sandwiches and we go make sandwiches at lunch. There's been years where we've ordered something or we've gone somewhere. But have an idea before you get there, because in the middle of all this, it's hard to think about lunch. So maybe put a parent in charge, or at least decide what you're going to do. Some tournaments have food that you can purchase. Some don't. Some are close to fast food places, some aren't. So kind of think about it at least a week or 2 ahead. Even if you're not ready, you don't think you've done a lot, your robot's not working like you want, you haven't finished your project, come anyways. Come do what you have. Come enjoy it. Meet other teams. Get ideas for next year, but make sure you still come. And then bring a box of extra supplies, because there's always things that you need. So make sure and bring an extension cord. Sometimes you don't have power close. Some robot batteries or chargers. A way to charge your robot in between matches is often helpful. We found we need this and that for Lego parts. There was one year one of those little blue round connectors that are really small. One of those in the middle of our robot broke. So we had to take the robot apart and put it back in and fix it. So bring a few Legos. The other teams are usually pretty good about sharing in emergencies, but if you bring some, it makes it a little bit less stressful if you have a last minute repair that you need to do. Maybe if you use any tools or any gadgets to help with your robot, bring those. Bring a laptop just in case or something that you program your robot with just in case you need to do a last minute fix on your robot. So bring some of those things. Okay, so that's basically what a competition is like during the season. Does anybody have any questions that any of us can answer? We'll let you.
All right, I'll field some questions here. So, question here in the front.
What happens if you you don't know what to do, like if you're supposed to be the programmer and you don't know how to do it and no one else knows how to do it?
All right, so that's a good question. Some of these rookie teams may feel like that, and your coaches may feel the same way, right? First, look to your coaches. And coaches, there's a lot of resources from veterans teams here. I know we help numbers of teams every year. There's workshops, there's a lot of training out there that can help the students, and the coaches know how to help the students in that. So yeah, look to we call this our first family. Look to your other family members, your other teams that you're competing around and with. Sometimes you're at a tournament and you're just like that. You want to be able to do something. I'm sure that there's another team probably in the pit right next to you that would love to help. Ask the teams around. Get to know the students, the other kids around you, and ask them for help. And you'll be amazed at how many people are willing to just jump in and help you out. All right. We got a question over here. Well,
If somehow the robot breaks, what would you do in that situation?
Don't panic first.
yeah, first of all, just take a breath. Everything will be okay. And same type of stuff. There's always all these people around here that are willing to help. Other teammates that are willing to help. I know we had one year where a team showed up and they'd left some stuff home. And they had to completely rebuild parts. And so all the other teams around jumped in, loaned them parts, helped them build that out. Rich said something in the earlier thing that was pretty important about that, about your robot breaking. Make sure you have something that you bring your robot in. If people are carrying attachments in their hands and that kind of stuff, it's liable it might get dropped or broken. But if you have a Tupperware bin or something to put it in, then that happens. And yeah, just be calm and ask for some help if you need it. There's volunteers there that'll be able to help you all the way along. All right.
It's amazing what you can do, too. There's so many times where we've had an issue and we worked hard and we were able to fix it, and that felt better than if it wouldn't have broken because we worked hard and we were able to get through it.
What if the battery of the brick dies in the middle of the competition?
Like actually in the middle of the round? Yeah, that's a tough one there. I think that you'd want to at least ask the head referee. More than likely the round would stand, and the great thing about that is only your one round that's your highest score counts, so you got two other chances to be able to do that. But if you've got technical problems like that, and it's sometimes we've seen it where the wires have come out and kids don't know how to do it, you know, ask the head referee or ask some people to help you take a look at it, because you know that kind of thing does happen. So.
That's why it's nice that you have 3 matches. There was one tournament we went to where we had the high score in our first round. Second round, suddenly the robot wouldn't work. It did not do a single thing. It did not even move out of home. So we got a 0 that round. But they were able to figure out what happened, and it was something. What was it? I can't remember.
It was one of the motor wires that gone unplugged, so instead of going straight, it turned in a circle.
Yeah.
Really nice circle though, but.
Yeah, so I mean things happen, but it was okay. We were able to fix it and troubleshoot, and then we came back and got an even higher score the next time. So if something happens, don't give up. You have another round, you have 3 rounds to try your best, and get a lot of experience in troubleshooting. Remember, these things are toys though. They're never going to work exactly like you want. They're not expensive precision machines. They're toys. They're going to have some issues. All tables work slightly differently, so just because it works on your table at home, it might not work exactly the same here. So just try and have some patience, learn what's going, try and troubleshoot, and usually you can figure it out. So.
And I think the most important thing is think about what you've learned and discovered, right? That's the most important thing. More important than the awards and that kind of stuff, but it's what you individually have learned and discovered throughout the process. All right, question back here. Oh, you got a question here.
What happens if one robot is by the side of it, the other is on the other side, and one breaks, and it breaks the other one?
So I have to tell you, I've never seen a robot that's actually gone over the field into the other side to break it, so it's probably very unlikely that would happen. But you actually have referees, and you've got a head referee that he'd make that call. He'd figure out what to do if something like that happened.
I can imagine if it starts going on the other side, one of the referees would probably grab it and keep it from getting to your robot.
Yeah, that's where you just trust in the referees. They're trained, and they know how to handle that.
Sometimes this happens, though. Very sad.
All right. ask your question.
What happens if you win 3 competitions? Where would you be?
If you what?
If you win 3 competitions.
So the question is, so first of all, your team is allowed to compete in 1 regional tournament. And you can actually compete in more, but you're only eligible for awards in 1 regional tournament. So if you did well in your first regional tournament, enough to be able to make it to the state tournament, that would be your second tournament. And then to get to a third tournament, you'd have to do well enough to qualify for Worlds. So that's...
They don't always have a Worlds every year. Arizona doesn't get into Worlds every year, but we usually get 1 most years. So there's, out of all the teams in Arizona, there's 1 usually that goes to Worlds. So it's more about what you learn and having fun. Worlds is fun too, but focus on the learning and what can you have fun with this year.
Yeah, I just try to encourage my kids to focus on that meeting we're at that minute, and then from there, then to the tournament, and then you learn along the way. So focus on the things which you're learning and working together as a team and what you're able to accomplish as a team. Coaches, do you have any questions about what to expect from a tournament? Or any help in general as you're starting off with a new team, a lot of those rookie teams? Are there questions you guys have that you want answered? Because I know with our experience, and Elaine had mentioned before, she's been involved with FLL for 14 years, right? So I think this is our 14th season too. So you've got lots of experience here, and I recognize some other coaches here that have done it.
Yeah, like our first year, we were told you had to document every single thing you did, and another team showed us this notebook they had that was like 300 pages big and had pictures of everything they did. You don't need to do that. So don't stress out about what you need to do. Do what you can. Try and get the robot to run 1 mission. That should be your goal in the beginning. Run 1 mission. Pick 1 close to base and run that 1 mission. Try and come up with a solution. It doesn't have to be the best solution ever, but it has to be a solution the kids are excited about, hopefully. And then work on learning the core values to start with. Just learn, there's 6 core values. Does anybody know what all 6 are? Fun. Teamwork. There's innovation. Any others? Inclusion. I know, I can't remember what we're missing. I'm going to have to look it up.
But there's 6 of them. There should be 6 of them.
We've been doing it so long, they used to have more, so I sometimes can't remember which ones that are not part of it. But my favorite one is fun. If you're having fun with everything you do, then you're going to learn more, you're going to discover more, you're going to have more success because you're having fun and you're enjoying it. If it's not fun, then I don't know if it's worth spending as much time doing it, because you can spend a lot of time doing this if you want, so you need to make sure you're having some fun.
All right, question in the back. Yell it out real loud.
What happens if you lose all the tournaments?
All right. The focus really should be on doing your best at everything you do, working hard, and I personally wouldn't worry about whether you win or lose. It's worrying about working hard and making the most of what you and your team can do together. All right. I think we're getting down to the lower end of the barrel of questions here. So.
Okay, so core values. You guys, this will help you with your core values, judging and throughout the season. Discovery. It's all about what you learn. That's really important. What have you learned this year? Everybody on your team should at least learn 1 new thing. It doesn't matter how small it is, as long as you've learned something. Innovation. How have you figured out how to do something differently? Or how have you looked at different ways to do things? There's always more than one way to do the same thing. Impact. How have you used what you know to help other people? Inclusion. How do you make sure everybody on the team is included? How do you share what you know and include other people? Teamwork. That's a good one. You guys need to be able to work together to accomplish your goals. And then fun. Like we said, fun is a really vital one.
All right. So that kind of probably brings us to the end of this, but we will be here if coaches want to come up or you guys have questions, you can come up and we'll talk to us afterwards, answer any questions that you might come to. We also, Jeremy, you want to go back to our slides? We also have our email address there that if you ever want to email and ask us any questions, you can go ahead and email us, and we will do our best to answer your questions or put you in contact with somebody that can. So if there's not any other questions, thanks for coming today and hope you guys have a wonderful season. Have fun.